Alright, so today we're working on this Nissan Murano again, 2010, and underneath here, if you can see, got all this oil here, and if you look up here, we got a leaking oil pan gasket. So we're going to take this oil pan gasket off, and I'll show you how to do that. First step is you got to drain the oil, take the wheel off. I'll show you the other side. If you can't figure out how to drain the oil, you shouldn't be doing this job. But you want to take the oil off, take the oil filter off. Oil filter goes here. Drain the system out, otherwise you'd have a rude awakening for you. So, these are the tools you should need the job. Here's the gasket, and yeah, I'm going to get to it. Okay. Pretty sure these are all on with tenors, 10 millimeter. So, I'm gonna put this here, I think, and I'm gonna start zipping. Should have brought the magnetic tread. I'm using a 10 millimeter swivel on my Milwaukee Impact. Ooh, swivel might not fit in there. Okay. I have a porch tray. Looks like we got two more. Again, I'm using a 10 millimeter swivel. Swivels come in handy. Alright, so I think, alright, I got them all out. Now what I'm going to do is pry on this lip up here and try to get this thing out. Get my hammer and my old trusty. I'm gonna pry. Oh, this oil pan. So I'm just gonna pry on the lip just to break it because it looks like this thing's siliconed on. This thing's been leaking. Yeah, this thing's on there pretty fucking good. I found a good spot here to hit it. Alright. So the spot I have here, there's this little bracket here holding this hose on. And this is a good spot that I'm prying on to get this oil pan out. And she's coming. Oh, fuck. Come a little bit. I have to hit it on another side too. Let's see what we got on the other end. Yeah, got a good opening here. Let me show you. Got to get Big Daddy. The Big Daddy flashlight. Okay. Yeah, everything's plastic on these cars now. Okay. Oh. This plastic to put you guys so you can see the action. Okay. Let's see the action. Another good spot. Ooh, this is a good spot. Can hear it. Okay. Do it on the back here too. Ooh, you hear that? That means she's coming. Okay. There we go. Okay. She's still got some fucking oil in it. Alright, let's go to the other side. See what the hell's going on there. Okay. Alright, so we should have removed this. Maybe I'll do that when I reinstall it. Fuck. Look, I didn't get all the oil out of it. Okay. So, what are you looking at here? This is your oil sump screen. So you want to make sure there's no shit on here. And this looks nice and clean, you know. This thing has had routine oil changes. And it shows. Okay. Nice and clean. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut the video, but I'm gonna get my air grinder, my air flap wheel, flap this down so that there's no more gasket. Get rid of that. I'm gonna clean out the oil pan here and the oil pan gasket as well, and clean that out. You don't need to see that, but and then once I got that clean, I'll show you how to put it back on. But all you're doing really is taking this off. Got to clean the surfaces real good here too, and then you put it back on. All right. Okay, so I used a gasket scraper and scraped it down real fine, and then I also used my blue flap disc and really got it down to just bare metal. Now I did put silicone on here just afterwards, but you want to get all the previous gasket off, and then once you get a nice smooth surface here, you also want to make sure it's clean underneath where your oil pan connects to the engine. So once that's clean and this is clean, you're going to place a nice fine bead gasket there. Not big, you don't want to glop the shit on, just nice and easy little gasket. So the reason you do that is that'll compensate for any uncertainties. And then so now you have your gasket, which really will be your true seal. So I'm actually going to plop this on. I'm going to put the camera down, plop the gasket on, and this will also help keep the gasket in place, because remember, you're working underneath the engine. And so I'm not pushing down hard on this, I'm just getting it so that it's sticking. Okay. Okay. Yeah, you can pre-line up the holes, but alright, so now that that's on there, I'm going to take do another small bead gasket up top, again, just as additional sealing properties. And you see I'm just putting a small bead on here. Not glopping it. Just a small bead, you know. Now this thing's got, 200,000 miles on it, so hopefully this is the last time we'll be doing this on this car. That looks fucked up. Okay. Alright, so then you see I put a nice small bead on there like so. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you down here. Okay. And got our zipper. Now all I'm going to do is put this back up. Got it upside down or backwards. Get it back. Oh my gosh, I'm getting too big for this. Again, you want to make sure you got no oil residue. The other thing I do is I wipe it down with alcohol before I put the gasket on. Like after I, flap wheel this clean, I put alcohol on a rag and I just wipe it clean. So I'm just going to finger a couple of these screws by hand, a couple of these bolts by hand, if I can get my fat fingers in there. Okay. These two. Okay. Put the rest of the bolts on. Ivy's chewing on a bone in the other garage. So that's on. And what I'm going to do, because the gasket's got to get a little tacky and a little hard, so I'm just going to take my extension and I'm just going to tighten these by hand and like, you know, I mean like easy. And like finger tight. And doing the 4 corners. Finger tight. Tight. Now the reason I'm going finger tight is I want the gasket to settle. I want it to harden a little bit. So what I'll do is let it, you know, like I said, let it sit, let it expand and go and flatten out. And maybe I'll give it like an hour. And then after an hour, what I'll do is I will get it, I'll snug everything down and tighten it. I think these are like 30 foot-pounds. I was looking at the torque, I'm pretty sure it's like 30 foot-pounds on each of these. So, again, I put the gasket on, I'm gonna let it sit for an hour. That way it lets it settle, get a little tacky. And I'm gonna snug it down to 30 foot-pounds. As you can see, the oil pan gasket is back on. And so what I'll do is come back in an hour, snug it down, and then we'll put oil in it, and then see how she does. Alright, that's how to change the oil pan gasket out of a 2010 Nissan Murano. Also, this is the type of alcohol I use. It's just decon alcohol. Comes in a nice little bottle. You can buy it on McMaster. You spray it and then you can wipe it with a cloth. And then I used Mopar gasket sealer, and then I got Feel Pro gasket for the thing. It comes with a copper washer. I didn't show that, but it comes with a copper washer for the drain plug. All right, so that's that one. Bye.